What's going on, all you Quantumaniacs? Your two favorite Marvel Studios enthusiasts are back once again. We've just got back from the quantum realm. We're talking about the kickoff to phase 5 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We're talking about
Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. Whoa!
We both just have to lose. I'm sorry, Cassie.
That's right. These wild Marvel enthusiasts are back for yet another movie review. One of the most anticipated films of 2023. We have Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania hitting theaters this past weekend. And me and this guy over here had the chance of checking this out on an opening night and had some different feelings about this. But as you guys remember from part 2 of the film, we had Michelle Pfeiffer's character, Janet Van Dyne. She ends up in the quantum realm and bring her back. And essentially, we find out in this film exactly what was going on in the quantum realm. There's somebody else there with her that sets up, the big bad villain of this film. But really, from the get-go of the film, it's past, the events of Avengers Endgame. We have Uncle Paul Rudd, Scott Lang returning, writing a memoir, and he's kind of narrating his life in San Francisco, and he's all happy and getting his coffee and writing this story and having this tour and stuff like that. But that sets up his character past Avengers and what he's doing with his life. And then we're introduced to the rest of the family. His daughter, Cassie Lang, played by Katherine Newton. She's really smart, it's grown up over the years since the first Ant-Man film, and she's kind of dabbling with the quantum realm, and it basically sucks them all into the quantum realm, which is a sort of micro world that they fall into, a different universe, all these different sorts of creatures. And then we're introduced to Kang, Jonathan Majors, the man, the myth, showing up in a lot of movies and TV shows, really killing it. He shows up as Kang the Conqueror in this, and we find out what his character's about.
this is exciting. This is our first real big introduction to Kang, obviously, with them being in the Loki TV series. We first saw him, or at least one iteration of Kang. But this is our first big reveal in the movies. And what a reveal it is. He does a really excellent job just right from the get-go of establishing his dominance and going at it with all the variants of Kang that we're going to get. He shows a lot of different sides to Kang already, and there's an infinite number of Kangs that we're going to see throughout these next couple phases leading into Secret Wars and the next Avengers and Kang Dynasty. So right off the bat, we're shown what Kang is all about, his story, traveling through time, why he knows what's going to happen in the future, and he knows that basically everybody's doomed and that he's going to be, everybody is going to have to perish and he's going to be the only one to survive, the Conqueror, Kang the Conqueror. But this is only one variant of Kang, like I mentioned, and Jonathan Majors really sets the tone for what he can do, showing all the emotions, like being friendly with Michelle Pfeiffer in the beginning there with their moment at the beginning of the film, showing that he can be a sympathetic character and try to lure her in and get her to work with him so he can outsmart them and get what he needs to go on and rule this universe and make everything crazy for the Avengers.
Yeah, Jonathan Majors really is the best part of this movie. I was super excited to see him on the big screen. Obviously, Loki, he was fantastic, the introduction of his character, but he really dives into this more, this psyche of this character. He ends up exiled to the quantum realm from his world, and that's how he meets up with Janet Van Dyne and find out, she thinks he's a good guy, but she's helping him rebuild this ship, I believe, and finds out who the true nature of this character and what he's up to, all his evil ways, basically the new Thanos. Diving into that character and seeing his true colors and all the characters and armies that show up in this sort of universe in the quantum realm is pretty interesting. But you're looking at a big CGI movie, what you can expect from Marvel as of late. This past phase hasn't been very good. Most of the TV shows have been pretty solid, but the movies have not been good. This is, another movie that kind of falls a little flat for me. Just overall, it's just a big green screen movie with some humor in it and nothing really new.
This one needed to have a lot of heart, and it's what they kind of promised, being a family dynamic between Scott, his daughter, Evangeline Lilly as the Wasp, Michael Douglas. Everybody was supposed to work together in this, and you were supposed to feel some heart. That was what was going to make this whole film work. But really, it felt kind of hollow. in the beginning, we find out that Scott Lang has wrote this book. He's on this book tour. He's been one of the Avengers that helped, save mankind, and his like family's kind of shitting on him. Like, what have you done lately? Like, oh, like I found that kind of hypocritical and kind of unbelievable to, from the get go of this movie. And, with Catherine Newton playing the third or fourth iteration of Cassie Lang, it's, somebody that should have came in and, made us believe in this relationship and her wanting to repair the relationship with her father. And I just, they didn't have a lot of moments that really connected and, drove home the whole family aspect of this. That's what this whole movie was rested on. And it was supposed to be this film that was going to change everything forever, lead into phase 5. But all it ended up with, it was being another CGI fest, like you mentioned, and not really providing anything new for the most part. It felt like just another movie in the Marvel canon, a place where they could introduce Kang and, sort of tease things like somebody was going to die. But, it just ended up being like another movie where they were able to, come together at the end as a family. But nothing really stood out in this film, unfortunately.
It didn't feel like there was a lot on the line. Other movies previously in other phases, it felt like they're building up something larger at play here, something really big is going to happen, or, this big villain. But this movie didn't really have that, and also didn't have the connection, the family dynamic that I was hoping for. Some good funny scenes. I laughed a few times, but overall it was just missing that heart. They focus more on the visual effects and actually building a good story here and trying to introduce this new bad guy into the MCU that's going to be leading the rest of the films leading up until the end. Kang the Conqueror. We're going to be seeing different iterations of this character throughout. And Jonathan Majors really was the standout for me for this movie. I thought he was fantastic. Love this actor. Can't wait to see where his career goes. Imagining he'll keep blowing up after this. And Creed 3 coming out. So very excited for that. He was the best part. Everything else is pretty much forgettable. Movie I probably won't rewatch either. But the actors did a decent job. I think overall the writing was probably the weakest part, and CGI was just a little over the top. That being said, I'm going to give Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania a 3 out of 5 Catherine Newton hair pieces.
I agree with everything that you said. Just it should have been more than it was. The story was hollow. All the effects, nothing practical, CGI galore, and unfortunately not the family dynamic, the heart, and nothing at stake. The only thing that this movie really had going for it was Jonathan Majors as Kang. He got to show off, and tease some of the things that we're going to see from his character, which was awesome to see. Paul Rudd's always great. But with all that was promised with this movie and, what it's trying to set up, it just didn't fulfill what they had promised and what it needed to do to, kick off this next phase and build the Marvel Cinematic Universe back up to what it was. I mean, we lost all the Avengers, all those actors are moving on, or most of them anyway. And, it's going to be hard to get that footing back. It just seems like it's an uphill battle now with each new movie that they've released. It's been hard to find that dynamic again. What's going to bring all these people together and make it work? It just feels like it's missing something at this point. I'm with you here. The biggest thing in this movie was definitely Kang the Conqueror. And stick around after the credits. We must mention there's a couple teasers for what's coming next. Mostly having to do with Kang, and some of the best parts of the movie, honestly, after what we watched through the movie, which didn't introduce very much new, unfortunately. With that being said, I too am going to give Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania a 3 out of 5 Kang hair pieces.
So I want to hear from all you quantum realm enthusiasts out there. What did you like about Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania? What didn't you like about it? Please let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to click subscribe. Also, check out these wild time travelers on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and our website, Cinephellas.com, for the latest, greatest TV movie news and reviews.
And that's right. Stay tuned for some more Marvel Cinematic Universe reviews to come. We have some TV shows coming out this year. I think they're dialing down the amount that they're going to release. I heard that they're only going to do 2 this year. I think we're going to get Secret Invasion, and I believe one other, Loki season 2. I think they had planned like 4, but I think they're gonna, slow it down a little bit and get this, try to get this back and rolling and get back on track. Because I think that they realize now that they have to get this story right. They have to build it up. They're introducing a lot of characters, a lot of new characters, and they kind of have to slow it down. They can't just unleash quantity over quality in MCU. And now that DC's rebuilding everything, it's a good chance. It's a good chance for everybody to reset a little, get back on the focus, and get back to making good quality stories and making sure the story is right before releasing some of these. So we want to hear from you guys what you guys thought about Ant-Man and the Wasp. Maybe some of you enjoyed it a lot more than we did. Please let us know. And thank you guys for watching our review of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. So until the next time, I'm Uncle Henry.
And I'm Uncle Logan Majors, signing out until the next movie review.
Cheers.